Well, there's a lot more people starting to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I guess they like what they're hearing, which is truth. And if it isn't truth, well, then I've been misinformed, and I'm always ready to be reinformed. Greetings, my friends, or washte Mikolas. This is Thunder. I want to talk about genocide and a bunch of other stuff today because it fits right in with what I've been talking about. My two previous videos, if you haven't seen them, you should watch them. One's called We Are in World War III, and the other one is The Killing of the Innocents. I want to start off by saying that genocide as we know it, which is a mass murder of people, the largest genocide on history, or in history as we know it, according to my research anyway, was the Native American, or the native, not Native American, because America is a spurious word that came about later and was not the original name of this land we call America. It was Turtle Island. Now, living in this continent, or on this continent, were anywhere from 50 million to 100 million indigenous people. 80 to 90% of those people were no longer with us after the Europeans arrived on the scene. So the high estimate of the genocide committed in America, and I've gone into all kinds of different massacres and how they did it and whatever before. You can research my videos and find it. But 100 million people is probably a good estimate of how many indigenous people died. Now, is it any wonder that these same people, the Europeans, cause havoc everywhere? And most of these Europeans call themselves Christians. Boy, am I finding out some stuff about Christianity, and I'm pretty well versed on it, but boy, am I finding out some stuff about that and Zionism and what's going on in Palestine. I mean, and with the Gaza people, that whole conflict over in Gaza, or Israel and Gaza and the Gaza Strip, can be very much likened to the killing of indigenous people. And it has to do with Zionism, which is a nationalistic fervor surrounding the Jewish state. Much like patriotism, or surrounds, or the nationalistic fervor surrounds the American states. So that's what the cause is, people. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this World War III thing and what's happening in the Ukraine. Man, I'll go on somewhere like Yahoo and just to read the news, just to see what garbage they're putting out. They're the worst, I think, probably, Yahoo. Hate to say it, but, well, no, I don't hate to say it. I love to say it. Everybody should know Yahoo is trash. They don't speak the truth at all. Well, they were one of the first out there, weren't they? Like Google and all the rest of them. Wonder who owns them besides the U.S. and the cabal, or whoever owns the U.S. But boy, do they lie. I saw an article in there today where they took everything that the West did and all the lies and all the propaganda that the West has been spreading and did a 180 and blamed it all on Putin. They turned it right around and said Putin did all this, not the West. And I just scratched my head and went, man, is this trash? And I told them so. I wonder how much they pay these whores Well, you know, you can't even call them whores, really, because a whore is a better person than these people. Because when you think about it, a whore is right out front, and most of them have a heart of gold. But these people, you can't call them whores. You have to call them traitors, or, I don't know, liars, traitors, bad people, whatever. Anybody that would write a lie for money, I'm a writer, let me tell you, you don't do that. Now, this whole thing with genocide, you know, the Jews complain about 6 million, and I'm not saying, hey, that wasn't a good deal either, but we're talking 100 million people with natives. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up. You can Google it. And they did it in all kinds of nefarious ways. Okay? And that's what's wrong with the mentality of, or just the whole situation that is happening right now with this World War III, and that we're in full swing. Now I heard today that I've heard so many things lately since I started looking into things a little bit deeper here, because it's getting rather critical in the world right now. There's a lot happening, and so I'm like looking more, and I'm like, what's the basis for this stuff? Who's running the show here? Who's killing, like, let's say Gaza? Thousands of people have been killed there. Thousands. 27, 30,000, 40,000 since the beginning of their fighting. Just the Gaza, just the Palestinians. Maybe more. Don't have the exact figures on it because they try to hide them. And it's because Israel says we need our homeland, and we need, well, great. Give other people their friggin' homeland too. Don't be selfish bastards, okay? Don't be like the European, man. Well, I guess they are. They should know better. If anybody should know better, it's if there was a Holocaust. Well, I mean, there was a Holocaust, but people have questioned it, but I don't question it. I feel there was. Had too many frontline troops going in there and seeing it, but if 6 million people disturbs them, or killing people unmercifully, why are they going in and killing men, women, and children in Gaza? Does it make sense to you? Is that Christian? Is that Jewish? Is that Islamic? Well, they're all one. Christians, Jews, Islam, they all come from Father Abraham, and I have questions about that. In other words, why don't they all go to their father Abraham and talk to him and say, gee, why can't we get along? Why are we killing each other? It's ridiculous. It's a belief system that was derived from ancient whatever, tribal tradition. Okay, so it's a belief system, so let's kill everybody. And then you have America that is basically without a culture except for the Native American, which they killed off. I've said that before. But as far as like history, culture, like China or someplace like Russia or someplace like that goes way, way back, there's no culture here. It's just a mess. Always has been since they came in here and tromped all over the land and killed the Native American and built the railroad from shore to shore and killed everything. But all this is the reason I'm mentioning all this stuff is because it's going to lead up to extinction of the species, okay? Because right now, I guess I started to mention this earlier, but right now I heard that, you know, the Americanos, They're moving the West and on the EU and their partners in crime, that try to destabilize every nation that they can get their hands on and get their resources. That's the thing. Oh, that's another thing I found out. I looked up how many people have been killed, do you think? Take a wild guess. How many people do you think have been killed, let's say in the Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan in recent times? How many people do you think have been killed? Millions. Millions of people in Syria and Libya and Iraq have been either killed, injured, or displaced, homeless, because of this drive for world hegemony or world domination. And they just go in and they take these countries and they turn them inside out. Like I said before, watch my previous videos, click on the little head up here, go back and watch We're in World War III and the death of the innocents, and then follow up with this one. And you will see that it's just a killing spree. A killing spree. In the name of? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? What are we doing this in the name of? In the name of God? That's up for grabs, anything about that, so that's nebulous. There's a million gods, so we won't even go there. We already know that belief systems are just that, belief systems and nothing else. They're meaningless, they're bullshit. And I mean it. There's nothing reverential about any of these religions, but millions of people have been killed in just recently. And so the West, with their plan, whatever it is, their agenda, they think that Russia now is just like the rest of them, Libya, and easy pickings. Just go in there and cause some trouble, throw some CIA agents, some fuel on the fire, no problem. Blame, 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 blame game, game. And we'll make strides in there. Well, guess what? I heard they're shipping arms in there, and missiles, and tanks, and people, and armies, and NATO, and you think Russia doesn't know what they're doing? Really? And do you think Russia is a pushover like Libya or Syria or any of these nations that they destabilized and killed their leaders? You think they're just going to tromp in there and undermine Putin? I think you better think again. And what they're doing by, putting all this propaganda out, I mean, it's outright lies. It's laughable. I have to laugh at some of these things that they say. And some of the articles, and then again, I don't know if I mentioned this before, they had Putin, and the one article had him with a spider's web around him, and it said web of lies, and everything that he supposedly lied about is what the West lied about. If you watch it and follow it and look and see what's going on, they take everything that they lie about and say Putin said it. And by the time people, or they put phony pictures or phony evidence, that's another thing they're doing. Now dig this. In my day, when there was a problem with a war or anything like that, or they were thinking about going to war, they trotted out generals and they had them on TV and they had a backdrop and they had a little podium They said, okay, here's the evidence, and they showed pictures, or they might have showed a car on a road, or they might have shown, might have tried to show some kind of evidence of why they were going to war, or made a case. That's what I'm looking for. They made a case. You know what they do now? There's this press secretary, this woman called Harf. I want to call her Barf because she is such a liar. And she's a blonde, and they put glasses on her to make her look intellectual. Nothing against blondes. No, I don't want to hear any. But there's some really hot blondes that are smart. Don't get me wrong here. I don't want to get any cards and letters. But anyway, she's a ditz. And they put glasses on her to make her look all, intellectual. But she doesn't say one damn intellectual thing. Every time her tongue moves, you can see the fork in there, And she says stuff like, we have evidence that. Then, they never have evidence. Then finally they came out with some evidence that some guy from Ukraine that hates Putin posted on his Twitter site. Evidence of pictures, grainy black and white pictures of supposed missile sites and this and that, and Russia did this and that, and I'm telling you, is this Looney Tunes? Is this a comic book? I mean, compare that with what I said before about trotting people out and presenting evidence with, hey, it's on a social media site, it's real. It's on YouTube and somebody Twittered it, so it's got to be real. There's the evidence right there. And then these morons out in the public see this shit and they go, oh, they got evidence. Here it is, it's real. They don't bother to look to see if it's phonied up or, where it came from, or if it came from some dumb social site, which you can lie and make up and you can do anything. Of course, they all like their social sites, so this is what's going down, people. This is the kind of crap that's happening out there right now that's being taken for gospel. Now, when you move troops and arms and NATO people and all that stuff into Russia, well, what's the point? What's the point? Well, I did a little research on that too. I might have talked about it before, but the point is the first strike nuclear capability, which was, some doctrine, some group of people thinks that it's inevitable that we must take Russia down because we're the exceptional nation here. Not. We have to take Russia down because they can't be head and shoulders above us, or they can't give us problems, or they can't interfere with our monetary system, or they can't. Well, wait a minute. What gives us the right to tell people what they can and can't do as long as they're not hurting us? So anyway, the end result, or the bottom line is that we're moving troops and stuff in there. And of course, at some point, and this is the point that this is what they're trying to push Putin to do, Russia to do. At some point, he's going to have to take some kind of action or go belly up. And he ain't going to go belly up. And the reason that they're accusing him of all this stuff that he's never done is because they realize if they push him really, really hard, he'll have to do it. And then they can say, see, we told you so. See, we told you he was a bad guy, when all along he wasn't, but they said he was. You get my drift here? It's insidious. It's George Orwell. It's Orwellian. It's beyond Orwellian. It's a strategy, people, and I told you I was a strategist, and I read Sun Tzu's Art of War, and I've read every book on strategy, and I'm a martial artist. And that's the strategy. Spread the lie before it becomes truth. Or spread the truth as a lie before it becomes truth. You get my drift here? Because if they know that they're going to push him so far and that he eventually is going to have to react, they're going to attribute things to him before the fact that he reacts, so that they can say, hey, see, he is a bad guy. Now, I think Putin is smart enough to know what they're doing. He's just trying to be diplomatic. He's actually a good guy compared to these vultures we got hanging around here who killed 100 million natives. That's their history. That's their resume. They killed 100 million, and I don't want to hear any bullshit about they didn't kill, they killed them by all kinds of different means. They came into this continent and swept it. Okay? They had cannons and guns and tons of people, millions of people come in here and just overrun this land like ants. And just put their boot heel on the back of the indigenous person's head and killed them. And it doesn't matter if genocide doesn't have to happen all at once. There's a name for it: progressive genocide. And that's what happened. And these are the people that did it. Now, people could say, well, are you mad at the white man? Are you No, I'm not mad at the white man. I'm mad at idiots. I'm mad at they just happen to be white. They just happen to be European, most of them, although some of them got a lot of native blood and don't even know it. So what's up with that? And every city in America and every state is basically named after a Native American. Ohio and Delaware and Massachusetts, and most of them are Indian names. Probably about 80% of them are Indian names. I bet you didn't know that, did you? Well, maybe you did. So what it amounts to is that all these people that have been killed in the wars recently, close to 1 million, maybe more, and just 3 little destabilizations, and the 100 million natives, and you start at, this is millions and millions of people, and we're talking men, women, children. What if it was your kid? What if it was your wife that was raped? What if it was your kid that was killed? What if your mother-in-law had her legs blown off? What if your father was riddled with bullets and tortured? What if? And meanwhile, people just sit around. They just sit around on their asses and don't do anything. Now, do I do something? Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Aren't I? I don't see how people can live with themselves when they see this stuff and not speak out about it. How can they live with themselves? At least speak out about it to your neighbors. Spread the word. Hey, this is all bullshit. This is propaganda. This is like pre-Nazi Germany. Now, police state, propaganda. All you got to do is a little research to find this stuff out. And I'm a wisdom keeper like Coco Pelli here, the flute player, the flute playing god, the fertility god. But he also traveled from city to city so that he could tell people about things he knew. That's why you find his picture on every rock across this continent in America. And that flute he was playing was, and the hump on his back were seeds, planting seeds, and the flute was magical. So what are you going to do about this, people? You're going to just sit around on the couch and listen to thunder and go, I can't wait till his next video comes out. I don't have thousands of viewers like some of these people because I believe in quality, not quantity. Like, I may not have thousands of viewers, or maybe I only get 100 views on a video. But to me, those are quality people. Those are people that are paying attention. And if they want to spread the word, fine. If I have 1,000 or 100,000 viewers, great. But I don't give a shit, okay? I'm not in here to, like, make a name for myself, or I've done so many things in my life, it doesn't matter. I'm a writer, award-winning writer. I'm a pilot. I'm a martial artist. I've done a lot of things in my life that have fulfilled me. So I'm not looking to make a name for myself. In fact, it's kind of scary. I Googled my name, Roger Thunderhands Gilbert, one day, and 40, 50 pages came up, and I went, oh, shit. I don't want to be that well known, but you know, that's what happens when you speak truth. Or when you get a book out that people like that has truth in it, or whatever. I've really been on one lately with this because I see a ramping up here. I'm usually like, a lot of my videos are about spiritual things, about, you know, meditation, qigong, tai chi, Taoist practices, you know, all kinds of things. I've even done things on sacred sex, you know, tantric practices, everything. But I don't know, you know, you just, when you listen to the wind, like my book, Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart, when you listen to the wind telling you things like, what's in the wind, dude? Well, what's in the wind, cola, cola means friend, by the way. What's in the wind, cola, is a shitstorm brewing. It's like when you can smell rain, you know? Now, I don't know if how intense this is going to get, but I know right now that it, you got to go look, like, compared to what? Like, you look at the Cuban Missile Crisis, or you look how you grew up, or you look how things were and how they are now, and you look at what people are saying, and you look at the stupidity, the utter nationalistic fervor stupidity of some people that'll just buy anything that the mainstream media says. They're just so god darn gullible. Yeah, that's what's happening, because so-and-so on Fox News said it, or did you see Katie, or did you see whoever? They said that. Those people are all bought and paid for. They're all bought and paid for. And if they don't say what they're supposed to say, they're out of there. And a good example of that is a really good guy called Greg Hunter that's on the YouTube. I recommend him highly. That got fired from the USA, ABC, CNN, something. He don't care anymore. He tells the truth now, which is cool. I might not like everything he says, but he tries, okay? He tries. And there are no real newsmen like there used to be, like Walter Cronkite. I mean, I gave him a ride in a cab once, believe it or not, when I was driving a cab in La Jolla. I actually met Walter Cronkite. He was real. That's funny, but I should remember that. But anyway. So we're liable to be, there's liable to be a mass extinction here if these idiots go ahead with their plan, which I started to talk about before. I eventually get around to it, things, so bear with me. But the plan is we can do a first strike on Russia if we have to. We can do a first strike, nuclear strike on China if they get out of line. Now the way we do this is we surround them with missiles so that we can take out their missiles when they try to retaliate. Wrong. Just think about, they say limited nuclear, even a small nuke isn't small, people. It's a giant friggin' mushroom cloud. And out of that comes thunder and lightning. It's worse than 20 volcanoes or whatever. Well, I don't know about that, but it's bad, okay? And if one goes off, well, then you got a nuclear winter. And you destabilize the planet, you destabilize the... It's just horrific even thinking about that. People think that they could use them partially and try to... That's just psychotic, crazy thinking, don't you think? I do. When you compare that with original indigenous people living next to nature and having little campfires and little skirmishes over somebody stealing somebody's horse or something. Extinction, people, think about it. Mass extinction. Everybody dead on the planet, slowly. Huge clouds drifting around with radiation in them, and if they don't have radiation, there's no sun coming through and the crops die and there's fungus and blah blah blah, on and on. Just like if Yellowstone caldera blew, the same thing would happen. So if you want that, sit around and play with your iPod or whatever you play with. I'd rather be known for speaking out. Okay, I'm not afraid to speak out. I'm not afraid of these idiots, these jerks, these NSA and all these people. We've known that for years. We knew about NSA before it came out. 10 years before it even came out. So you think that's going to deter me from talking? And we all die anyway eventually, right? So, I don't know, I guess I just think about the grandkids and the kids. It's kind of heart-rending to think about what kids don't know. And what's really heart-rending is what parents don't know. And that the kids don't know that their parents don't know. So they just, okay, mommy, okay, daddy, they're so innocent and beautiful. Breaks my heart, really. It's bad, people. Lying is so bad. And if it was based on something that was provable, I won't even get into beliefs and Christianity and all that. I'll save that for another time. Man, I'm ready to go on that one, though, because I found out some new stuff about Christianity and the roots of that. Stuff that just, I thought I knew I thought it was bad already, but the stuff I found out makes it really, really bad. I mean, I kind of knew it already, but I did some deeper research because I was thinking, well, if the Christians say that this is all caused by Satan and all that stuff, so I started looking into some things, and oh my God. Some of the stories that are not real or that are just pure fairy tale are leading people down the path of destruction. That's all I got to say. But there'll be more on that later. You can believe me. Okay, now I want to say right now, I want to put in a plug for Campfire Council, which is a nonprofit organization that I sit on as the board of directors. And we're all about informing people, and we're all about survival, teaching people, the sacred ways, teaching people truth, unbrainwashing people, much like you'd unbrainwash somebody who's in a cult or something. Getting people out of the cities, getting people to be able to defend themselves, getting people to learn how to live off of nature again, getting people to learn how to band together, helping the disenfranchised, the vets and the homeless and people, anybody that needs help, like the Good Samaritan. So we are nonprofit. And I'll put the link down here, or one might pop up there, but I will do that. And I always do it in the About This video. If you click, you can see all kinds of links, and one of them says Campfire Council. Go there, check it out. Join us with the newsletter. Support us through donations. It helps. People have already done that, and it's been good. There's been people, but we need more, okay, to keep going here. And we need your support on a moral level. Spread the word. Who else is doing this? Religions aren't doing this. They're not teaching you how to survive. Get out in the wilderness, make fires, do martial arts, learn how to shoot. Oh, that's so bad. It's good. So let's get back to it, people. Let's get real. Let's be warriors, tribal people, spiritual or otherwise. You got to start somewhere, and this is a good place to start, so do it. We need your help. There's a donation button there with PayPal, and there's a newsletter sign up, and there's my shows are on there, and spread this video around, people. I don't just sit here flapping my lips to cast my pearls before swine, okay? Pay attention. If you don't believe me, do some research. But know this. The good guys sometimes are bad guys, and the bad guys sometimes are good guys. Didn't they say the Indians were bad and savages? Guess you found out who was right about that, didn't you? Who's got control now and what's happening? Need I say more? Anyway, from the one eye of the heart, Chante Ishte. This is Thunder. Until I see you again, over and out.